What's up, y'all? Jake from Guitar Center here. I'm hanging out with our friend Rabea Massad in the Ernie Ball booth at NAMM 2025. How you doing, Rabea?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Look, this is the fun stuff. So today we're going to be checking out two new colors for the Ernie Ball Music Man Rabea Massad Artist Series Sabre and two entirely new Rabea Massad guitars under the Sterling by Music Man name. But we're going to start out with these new colors. So Rabea, tell us a little bit about the colors. What are they called? And kind of what was the inspiration behind the name?
For the colors, so this one is called Carian Burst. And for all those out there that like Elden Ring, yeah, you know.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a massive gamer nerd at home. Like in my spare time when I'm not doing other things, I will play mainly from software games. And Elden Ring's obviously a huge success last couple of years, and they have a part of the game, well, there's a whole part of the lore to do with Carian people and all that stuff. But anyway, the point is, the reason it's blue is because a lot of the spells in Elden Ring, the Carian spells are blue. And I just like the reference. I like to do that, kind of bring in things like that, game references, because it's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
It's an awesome piece of lore. You get to learn more about the passions of a musician that you dig, and let's be real, so many of us guitarists, metalheads, rockers, we're gamers. Yeah. We're nerds. Yeah. So that's awesome. So thinking about that, obviously the game means something to you, the color means something to you and has story behind it. Do you find that the color influences what you want to play when you pick it up, or gives it a particular flavor?
That's a good question, because yes, it's funny. When I had the original two colors, so the Frenzied Flame and the Vile Blood, at first I'd pick the Vile Blood up and I felt more into wanting to do, riffy, the stuff with the band. Whereas when I picked up the Frenzied Flame, I wanted to do more like leady stuff, That's how it is at home. I have my Frenzied Flame in my home studio and I'll use it just to like practice lead and that kind of thing. And it's similar with these two. So this one, I feel like the Carian Burst feels to me like I could use it in the band setting, whereas the Emerald Hill Burst feels a little bit more like it's going to be the leady one of the two. It's just a weird thing. I don't know why. It might switch around at some point, but it is definitely a thing that certain colored guitars kind of steer you in a certain direction, or at least me.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think there are so many aspects of a well-crafted instrument that influence the player, and it's a symbiotic relationship, and I think it's really cool. It's not just a new color, it's a flavor, it's a feeling, and so I think it's really sick. Definitely going to want to check out that next guitar in a second, but before we do, would love to hear a little bit about what this pulls out of you, and before you play, if you could give us just a quick rundown of what we're looking at in terms of specs, pickups, things like that.
Yeah, so again, Carian Burst, it's done on flame maple cap, really. It's a nice thick piece of flame maple, and it's a nice burst as well, in that it gets a bit lighter towards the center, kind of like a Faded Jeans vibe, if you know what I mean. Totally. Which I just think it looks great. It's a beautiful piece of wood. That is really the only change it is the only change from last year's releases. So everything else has remained the same. It's still a flame maple cap, it's still alder body, it's still roasted bird's eye maple neck, ebony fretboard, loom inlays, stainless steel frets. It's got the Bare Knuckle Silos, my signature humbuckers. It's got the 5-way and then the push, which allows you to split down just the bridge or just the neck, so it doesn't compromise the split tones in between, which would be in 2, you've got outer coils, 3, both pickups, 4 inner coils. So, and then a custom machined bridge, because this was inspired by the JP15 bridge. I have a JP15. It was one of my first Music Man guitars, and I just love the aesthetic of that bridge. And the original Sabre has the chunkier one. And for me, I get really sweaty when I play on stage, as a lot of us do. And I found my hand would slide a lot more on that. So I wanted to go for like a satin finish, low profile bridge that just kind of stays out of my way a little bit. So
That's so smart. Just thinking about like, what's your experience going to be on stage as well. And that little thing can make such a huge difference.
Yeah. And again, like the other things that I noticed touring the stock Sabre was we put an arm carve in this, which I love the way that they've accented that with the cap.
Beautiful.
It's so sick. But that for me stopped my forearm from getting as fatigued, particularly in some of the gigging environments I was in. We're doing a lot of chugging and having to keep my hand really gripped to it. Would find I'd start to fatigue when it was more of a sharp edge. And then on the back, obviously, we've got the this is completely custom to my artist model, which is the way that we've recessed the heel joint here and the lower horn, because I've got big hands, and I just find that just those little adjustments have made it so I can reach that 22nd fret really well. And it's 22 frets, not 24.
Yeah, and that gives it a very particular character too. I feel like on a lot of guitars that people are playing for rock and metal, they're used to 24, but you get a different feel out of that 22. It's
the way these are spaced, big time.
Yeah, super
I've
cool.
always loved 22 fret guitars. So I've tried to, I have nothing against 24 fret guitars, but for me, 22 frets has always been a comfort point. So
yeah, 100%. So before we get into that next guitar, would love to hear a little bit out of this.
yeah, okay.
Those silos are crazy.
I love them. And again, that was just the neck and just the bridge. But then what I love about this setup is that when you get the in between the split coil tones, so like position 2, which is outer coils, it's just a
Pristine clean.
yeah, and same in 4, but just like a different character because it's the inner coils.
It's incredibly dynamically responsive. You get a little bit of that breakup when you dig in, and it's so lush and full, which I feel like a lot of guitars, that clean sound can get a little thin and tinny.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, when we designed the pickups, was the split tones had to be usable. Case in point, so on the neck pickup, if I've got that, if I split that down, it's like, it's got that stratty vibe to it. And again, with the bridge, you've got split it down. There's still support there. It doesn't sound anemic, which a lot of split pickups tend to sound like that.
Yeah, totally. So now we've got the next color. Tell us a little bit about this. More gamer vibes? More gamer reference?
This is Emerald Hill Burst. And for those of you who really enjoy Sonic the Hedgehog, particularly Sonic the Hedgehog 2, it's a massive game in my youth. I loved Sonic the Hedgehog. All my other references have been from software, and I was like, it's time to bring in some of those other references, and Sonic was a big one for me. So this is Emerald Hill Burst, first level from Sonic 2. But other than that, everything else is exactly the same. So all the same specs as the other Sabres, but just cool new color and trying something different. Like, I've never had a green guitar, and I don't really have any blue guitars. Like, the other colors were kind of closer to the other things that I have in my collection, but like green and blue, I don't have a lot of those colors. And I was like, let's try that.
Sweet. Great to add to the collection. All right, so that's it for the Ernie Ball Music Man new colors. Now we're going to hit up the Sterling by Music Man. All right, so this is pretty exciting because now we're getting a guitar from Rabea for the Sterling by Music Man, Rabea Massad Artist Series Sabre. So can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so if anyone knows Sterling by Music Man, it's a more affordable range of guitars, you know, fully modeled on the Ernie Ball Music Man range. And that's what we've been developing with this since roughly last year when the other ones came out, just a few months after that. And the main focus here was to bring across all the key points of the Ernie Ball Music Man model to make it, you know, feel like it's the same sort of everything that makes it an artist model for me, we've tried to bring across. So things like the spoon cut, you know, like the ring inlays, the lumen lays on the side, the recessed heel, all that stuff, the neck profile, the type of bridge, the pickup switching with the push, all of that stuff we've brought across to this. The pickups aren't bare knuckle this time, but these are custom voiced Alnicar 5 humbuckers, and they have been modeled on my silos. And I was speaking with the guys at Sterling, obviously over email through developing it, but I know they went through at least 3 or 4 iterations of these pickups to get the sound of them, right, or as close to, because it wants to capture the essence of the Ernie Ball Music Man version for all those that, want that guitar, and they can get this and get something similar. That's the plan. And the color is Ashen Burst, which again is a Dark Souls reference. I can't get away from it. I'm just obsessed with these things.
No need to.
Yeah, but it's an alder body, and this is a veneer, flame maple veneer. So it's one thing that we did want to make sure is getting this right. Originally, this was painted, and I was like, it doesn't quite look like my artist model. I think that's quite a key.
Super distinct.
Yeah, and I thought it was really important to make sure. So they really tried to do that, and finally were able to make that happen on a bigger production scale. And that's that. I'm just really happy that that's the case. Ebony fretboard as well, roasted maple neck, and it's got just a little reference to me on the back. I don't like to make a guitar overtly signature, if you want to call it that, so subtle.
This is sick. I think it totally captures the flavor. Yeah, let's get into it. Would love to hear this.
Position 4 is inner coils up. Middle position is both humbuck. Position 2, outer coils. And then position 1 being bridge humbucker. Super dynamic as well, so you can dig in, or you can and it captures they've just got a nice amount of headroom, and then you can split the bridge and the neck. So before I split, it'd be like split it down. And then the same with the bridge. So you can hear they're definitely referencing my bare knuckle pickups, and it's giving you a very similar vibe. Like the neck pickup is super spanky, gets that kind of stratty thing, which was really important for me. Quickly, some overdriven stuff on the bridge pickup. So yeah, they sound good. I like it.
Sounds awesome, and it absolutely has that same character.
Yeah.
Really, really cool to see this at that more accessible price point for those that aren't quite able to get into that just yet and still want to grab that because they connect with your art and your instrument, your paintbrush.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was saying earlier, is like when I was younger, my guitar hero is like Nuno Betancourt, right? And he has his Washburn N series guitars, and I got an N2 because that's all I could afford at the time, and I got the N2, and it was like it gave me a feel for what the the N4, which was like the custom shop version, was going to be. And then eventually, when I was old enough, I had the money, I got the N4 version, and it was, I feel like that's, people can relate to that, and it's similar for other people in that they want to get the Ernie Ball Music Man model, but they can get one of these right now. It's that kind of progression thing if they're into that. So
awesome. So there's one more color of these that we want to get to before we wrap. So the last one, this is the second color on the Sterling model. What's this?
This is Blood Flame, which is another spell from Elden Ring.
I love it. You're committed to it.
Full committal, man. Like they just sound like cool guitar color names, right? So,
absolutely.
But yeah, it's exactly the same. So it's the veneer pickups are the same. One thing that is worth mentioning across all these models, whether it's Ernie Ball Music Man or the Sterling Band Music Man stuff, is I wanted to choose colors that the black and gold aesthetic on the pickups would work with too.
That makes sense.
It's a small detail, but like black and gold is a nice color combo for me too when it comes to hardware and things like that. I just like the way it looks. But I think that those really work well on the red, on the gray, on the green and the blue. I think it just works across the board. So glad about that.
Very complimentary shade. Rabea, thanks so much. These are all awesome. For the folks at home, if you want to learn more about the Ernie Ball Music Man or the Sterling by Music Man, Rabea Massad, Artist Series, Sabre guitars, go to guitarcenter.com or check them out at a guitar center near you.